Welcome to an explainer that is, frankly, going to completely flip how you look at wealth, hard work, and your own mind. We literally see it every single day, right? Brilliant modern creators, ambitious startup founders, and relentless athletes just grinding themselves into the ground, desperately searching for success. But what if the absolute greatest secret to wealth isn't about working harder, but thinking deeper? Today, we're jumping into a cinematic journey into the psychology of success, unpacking one of the most powerful philosophies ever recorded.
So what is the one idea that could break every invisible chain holding you back? Here's the truth. A truth most people will go their entire lives without ever realizing. You already possess the exact power needed to grow rich. Why? Because the true source of all wealth, this infinite intelligence, it already lies deeply hidden within you. You aren't empty. You aren't lacking. You are literally a walking, breathing miracle of creation. And yet most of us never use even a fraction of this gift because we're constantly looking outward for validation and riches instead of looking inward.
Now look at the hustle you were taught versus the secret you were denied. Society has completely conditioned you to hustle, to grind, to sacrifice, and to constantly seek those riches externally. We're taught to struggle. But this completely ignores the mental revolution required to awaken the creator inside you. The whole concept of thinking and growing rich, it isn't just a financial move. It's a profound spiritual law. It's the realization that what you think, you actually become.
All right, let's really dive into this masterclass. The foundation of our explainer today rests on the life's work of Napoleon Hill. Imagine this. The guy spent 25 years meticulously studying hundreds of the world's absolute wealthiest industrialists. We're talking titans like Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, and Thomas Edison. And he wasn't just looking at their bank accounts. He was studying their minds. He uncovered a universal, immutable law of success that separated these absolute giants from everyone else who was merely just working hard.
And that brings us to this incredible quote: "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." Just notice the sheer, absolute power behind those words. This isn't just some cute motivational poster you hang in an office. It is a scientific and spiritual reality. Your thoughts, they're living things. They are literally forms of energy. When you mix a crystal clear thought with real emotional belief, your subconscious mind instantly picks up that vibration and starts translating it into physical reality.
Section 1. Awakening the power within.
Infinite intelligence is that cosmic force and subconscious connection that translates your thoughts into their physical or spiritual equivalent. So, how do we actually use this? Well, the very first step to growing rich is taking divine responsibility for your own mind. You have to tap into this infinite intelligence. Think of your brain like a giant broadcasting and receiving station. When you finally accept that you have direct access to this cosmic intelligence, your entire posture changes. You stop desperately chasing riches, which honestly only pushes them away, and you start magnetically attracting them. You tune your mind to the frequency of success, pulling in the exact people, ideas, and opportunities you need to build your empire.
But I gotta give you a warning here. You cannot plant poverty in your thoughts and expect prosperity in your bank account. Your inner world is the womb of your future. You have to meticulously guard your thoughts. Think about it. If you're watering fear, doubt, and poverty in your mind every single day, well, the universe is going to manifest that exact reality. You have to actively choose thoughts of faith, power, and possibility. You need to think rich long before you ever actually touch physical riches.
Section 2. Desire, faith, and autosuggestion. Let's break down how this builds into the actual actionable mechanics of success. There are 3 foundational principles that act as the starting point of all massive human achievement. First up, you need a definite desire, not just some vague wish for more money, but a burning, pulsating obsession with a specific goal. Number 2, you gotta mix that desire with unshakable faith, an active, aggressive belief that the dream is already yours. And third, autosuggestion. This is a brilliant psychological trick where you constantly feed this emotionalized desire to your subconscious mind until it accepts it as absolute truth and literally forces your body into action.
To put that into perspective, let's look at Edwin C. Barnes's journey. This is a real-life example. Barnes didn't just want a job with the great inventor Thomas Edison. No way. He had a burning desire to be his actual partner. He arrived in Orange, New Jersey looking like a tramp, totally broke. He took a menial job sweeping floors in Edison's office. But, see, in his mind, he was already Edison's partner. He maintained that intense obsession for years until opportunity finally struck.
Barnes literally thought his way into a massive fortune because he burned all his bridges and absolutely refused to quit. Section 3. Knowledge, Imagination, and Planning. Once your mental foundation of desire and faith is set, you can't just, sit on the couch and wait for $1 million to drop from the sky. You have to build the engine of your creation with unyielding strategy. First, acquire specialized knowledge. General knowledge, no matter how vast it is, doesn't really attract money. Then, you take that specialized knowledge into the workshop of your creative imagination to build organized plans. And most importantly, make fast, firm decisions. The wealthiest people make decisions incredibly quickly and change them very slowly. Meanwhile, the poor are usually indecisive, always waiting for these perfect conditions that, let's be real, are never going to arrive.
So the absolutely crucial point here is that your standard must be elevated. You cannot produce divine results with a chaotic mind. You cannot create like God and think like a slave. When Henry Ford was actually sued and accused of being quote-unquote ignorant, he proved right there in court that while he didn't know every random general fact, he had organized his mind and his resources perfectly to solve literally any problem. He elevated his standard to be a master creator. And you have to do the exact same thing. Step up as a problem solver and a value creator, not just a confused wanderer.
Section 4. Persistence and the Mastermind.
As you build your empire, the world is inevitably going to push back. For sure, you're going to face delays, rejections, failures. Think about Thomas Edison. He failed 10,000 times before perfecting the light bulb. So how do you survive that kind of defeat? Relying on willpower alone versus having spiritual stamina. Average folks rely on fleeting external motivation, which basically crumbles at the first sign of friction. But the truly wealthy? They draw upon something way deeper, spiritual stamina. It's this quiet, persistent refusal to surrender your right to a successful life. You stop seeing obstacles as failures, and you start seeing them as divine refinements. You persist not just because you're stubborn, but out of absolute loyalty to your vision.
And the best part? You don't have to do this alone. You utilize the Mastermind principle. This is all about surrounding yourself with harmonious, powerful minds to multiply your creative power. It's the coordination of 2 or more people working toward a definite end in perfect harmony. Andrew Carnegie attributed his entire massive fortune to his mastermind group. Henry Ford surrounded himself with brilliant minds like Edison and Firestone. When you combine harmonious minds, it's like you create a third, invisible, exponentially more powerful mind that taps directly into infinite intelligence.
Section 5. The Ultimate Mindset Shift.
As we reach the apex of this explainer, it's time to shift your relationship with wealth entirely. Look at this daily alignment for abundance. Riches aren't something you chase, they're something you become internally, way before they ever manifest physically. Mastery requires daily alignment. Before the noisy world has a chance to shape you with fear, doubt, and distraction, you have to consciously shape yourself. You begin your day with intention, maybe engage in prayer and meditation, grounding yourself in stillness. You practice deep gratitude for what is already on its way. And then, you take bold strategic action. You build a system, you make the call, you create the value.
And as you do all this, you absolutely must shed the inherited lie that wealth is somehow unrighteous or evil. Money is a tool, a servant, a multiplier in the hands of a wise man. When a righteous person becomes rich, the whole world gets better because their wealth funds solutions and honors excellence. When you create massive value and solve real problems, money's just going to flow to you without strain, without shame, and without apology.
So the choice is entirely yours. Will you keep thinking like a slave to the hustle, or will you create like the divine architect you truly are? Are you going to remain a consumer, just drifting on the tides of other people's agendas? Or will you realize that the exact same force that created galaxies lives right there within you? Steward your mind, guard your thoughts, step boldly into your purpose. Because when you align your thoughts with this truth and back it up with persistent, organized action, you are going to grow rich in every conceivable measure of life. Executive Producer Bonus, YouTube Metadata and Packaging, Thumbnail Text Ideas, The Secret You Were Denied, Stop Grinding, Start Believing, Unlock the God Within, Viral YouTube Title Ideas, The Hidden Wealth Secret They Never Taught You, Think and Grow Rich, Unlock the God Within, Napoleon Hill's Ultimate Success Formula, Stop Hustling, Do This to Attract Wealth Instead, a Masterclass, The 13 Principles of Wealth Used by the 1%, Cinematic Explainer, SEO Keywords, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, Law of Attraction, Infinite Intelligence, Subconscious Mind, Motivation, Success Philosophy, Wealth Building, Entrepreneur Motivation, Creator Mindset, Autosuggestion, Mastermind Group. YouTube description. What if the secret to wealth isn't working harder, but thinking deeper?
In this cinematic explainer of Napoleon Hill's legendary book, Think and Grow Rich, we unlocked the 13 principles of success and the spiritual law of infinite intelligence. Discover how titans of industry, modern creators, and visionary entrepreneurs transform burning desire into massive wealth. You were not put here to just survive. You were put here to build, create, and thrive. Chapter timestamps: 000, The Hustle Trap and the Hidden Secret. 1:35, Awakening Infinite Intelligence. 3:20, Desire, Faith, and Autosuggestion, the Foundation. 5:5, The Barnes and Edison Story. 6:15, Planning, Knowledge, and Imagination, the Engine. 7:30, The Mastermind and Persistence, the Armor. 8:45, The Subconscious Shift and Final Awakening,